Hi everybody, so today we're going to be talking about how you smell. And this is basically our olfactory organ right here, and we'll go into that in just a minute. But before we do, I want to give you an idea of where we're talking about, where this would be located. So this is going to be located way up here at the top of your nose. So if you look at the skeleton here, it's obvious to see that these are the eyes. And then if I look up into the skeleton, we have way up in here is where this olfactory organ is going to be located, okay? And to give you an idea, it takes up an area of about 2 square inches. Okay, and if you look, we have these things that are right here. These are called olfactory receptor cells. Now, to give you an idea, I don't have very many drawn here, and we're going to go through this more in just a minute. But to give you an idea, you have between 10 to 20 million olfactory receptor cells in this 2 square inches. So you can see there's a lot of those in there. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. And if you notice here, this is going to be my olfactory bulb. And to give you an idea where that's located, if we go back to the skull here, I'm going to flip this over and we're going to look inside. And you can see right in here, it looks like there's holes in there. Okay, that's going to be called the cribriform plate, which I'm going to put on my board in just a minute. But this would be the cribriform plate right here. It's part of what we call the ethmoid bone. All right, your olfactory bulbs, you can actually see how these are shaped. They're almost shaped as if something could fit inside of there, and that's your olfactory bulbs. And so what's going to happen is the nerves are going to come right through these little holes here and help make up that olfactory bulb that's there. So like we said, so this is going to be the olfactory bulb. This here is the cribriform plate. Like we just said. Okay, that's going to be the part of the skull that the nerves are going to pass through. So you can see I have the axons for my nerves passing through here. This area that's in here is going to be loose connective tissue. I'm just going to put CT for connective tissue. And then if we look, you can see there's this round object that's up here in this connective tissue. This is going to be called an olfactory gland. And the olfactory gland is going to make something called mucus. So we're going to get mucus coming out, and it's pigmented, and people know that snot is usually green. This is basically the snot it's making. So it's going to make snot that's going to come down to this area in here, and it's basically going to cover all of this in here. So this is my mucus or my snot that's right in there, okay? As we continue down, you can see there's a little cell right here. This is what we call a regenerative basal cell. And what the regenerative basal cell is going to do is this will eventually grow to replace these olfactory cells because they wear out over time. Where you see the pink right here, this is called a supporting cell. Okay, so that's going to be my reporting cell where you see the supporting cell, where you see the pink. And then like we just said, this blue here is going to be my olfactory receptor cell. Okay, so that's it right there. Now, if you notice at the end of these olfactory receptor cells, we have these hair-like structures that are down here, and this is going to be called cilia. Okay, and we're going to talk about cilia right now. So all of this together, though, we're going to call this our olfactory epithelium. All right, so there's my olfactory epithelium. So let's go ahead and take a look more at this right now and how this actually works. So I'm just going to move this over here. And now we're still looking at the nose from the side. So again, we're looking at it right here. Imagine my head's cut in half, and you're looking at it right in here. So this would be right here. This is going to be the bone. You feel that's right here. This would be the soft part of the nose. You feel right here. There's actually cartilage there. This going up is going to be right up here. And then we would have our cribriform plate is going to be this black line right here. So the one thing we're missing from here is I'm going to put my mucus in again. So there's my mucus. Okay. These are going to be the cilia that's right here. Now, if you notice, I have these things here. These are going to be called nasal conchae. And I want to show these to you right now. You have a superior, a middle, and inferior nasal conchae. So let's take a look at the nasal conchae. And if you look right into the nose, what you'll notice is I have these things sticking out right here. And I have some on the side. Those are the nasal conchae that you see right there. By the way, this is my nasal septum right here. This is the ethmoid bone, which the ethmoid bone actually goes up to make the cribriform plate and something called the crista galli. Okay, so that's gonna be my ethmoid bone. The top of this down here is called the vomer. And then this whole thing is my nasal cavity, okay? So basically what we're looking at on the board is half of the nasal cavity. By the way, what happens from here is you have cartilage that comes out, which forms the bridge of the nose right here. So let's go ahead and take a look. And so here's what's going to happen. Let's say you smell something, right? It's gonna come through the openings in your nose here called the nasal nares, and it's going to come up, and because of the nasal conchae, it's going to start swirling around, okay? This is all gonna start swirling around. And the things you smell are called odorants, okay? On the base of my olfactory receptor cell, again, these are the olfactory receptor cells, and once again, these are the cilia. Okay, on the base of this, we have something called odorant binding protein. So this is going to be my odorant binding proteins. Are going to be right there. So now, my odorants, which are the things we smell, like I said, are going to come up, and only about 2% of the odorants are going to come up high enough to actually go through this mucus and bond to that odorant binding protein. Now, here's what's going to happen when it bonds to the odorant binding protein is now we're going to get sodium gates opening up, and when the sodium gates open up, we're going to start to have an action potential. The action potential is going to go up through the olfactory receptor cell and the axons to, once again, the olfactory bulb. Let me see, olfactory bulb, right? And then it's going to, that's a mess, but this says olfactory bulb. So then what's going to happen is this is going to come down this way. It's going to travel this way, and this is going to be my olfactory tract. And remember, we have two of these, okay? Two olfactory bulbs, two olfactory tracts. And I am just gonna finish kind of drawing this brain right here. And in my temporal lobe, I am going to have something called my olfactory cortex. So this would be the olfactory cortex. Okay? And what's going to happen at the olfactory cortex is that is where I'm going to turn electrical signals into a smell. Okay, from there, it's going to go to something called the olfactory association area. And here is where it's going to be interpreted. Like, what is the smell? Am I smelling popcorn? Am I smelling the gas from a car? Am I smelling brownies? Or whatever the smell is. It's going to be interpreted here. So here we turn from electrical signal into a smell, and here we determine what that smell is. Now, the other thing that's going to happen is we're going to have a branch that's going to come off of here, and it's going to go up to the center of the brain to an area called the hypothalamus. Okay, now what's going to happen in the hypothalamus is we're also going to start to put emotions with this, and it's also going to be in the limbic system. So it's going to go from here, limbic system. So it's going to go from here to the olfactory cortex, to the olfactory association area, right? Where it's going to be interpreted. But now we're also going to start to put emotions with this smell. Okay, is it something we remember really good? Is it like my grandma's brownies, like I said, or something like that? Or is it bad, something that smells that's bad? But anyways, that's what's going to happen there. So that's basically it for smell and how it works. And thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, please hit the like and subscribe button. And thank you so much again for watching.